I don't have it up. So you got to run.
Get your cookies order in now for Father's Day. I don't know why I'm doing this when I have a professional voiceover artist sitting right next to me.
Kimball's Cookies for all your Father's Day needs.
Actually, she did some really nice ones. It's like a toolbox, and they're all shaped like tools.
Oh, that's awesome.
If anybody listening to this now, go over to Kimball's Cookies on Facebook, their page, and it's pretty legit. She did some good ones. But hey, before we start the show, I feel like we need to discuss something, Casey. I did something today.
Oh, yeah? What did you do today, Mike?
I cleaned out my nose and my ears with this weed whacker.
What?
Brought
Look
to you
at
by
that.
Manscaped.
That fancy new device.
I legit did, and I'll tell you, no pain, no fuss, no muss. Takes care of me, cleans me up. I cleaned up the face with my other, because I have two of the Lawnmower 3.0, even though that the 4.0 is available now and I need to get one. So I cleaned up my face with one of them. The other one is for the downstairs. I do have to shave my chest again, though.
That's smart. Yeah, I hit my eyebrows because those things started to get all Gandalf weird and like crazy wizard wild. So very helpful for that. There's nothing better than a fresh manscaped face.
Well, I have the little pocket thing that you can, it has all the tools. And I showed it to you. It's the nail clipper, has the shears, has a file, and has the has a
right. That's
what it has. Sorry,
everyone needs that.
No, dude, I'm telling you, cleaning myself up and getting myself back in shape and everything else. This makes me feel better when I clean up.
Yeah, agreed.
And because you're an idiot that looks like a model every time you shave.
That's outrageous. I wish as much.
I don't want to hear it. It's like night and day. You look like Albert Einstein when you have your hair all puffed out, and then you cut it, and it's just like, all right, GQ, calm down.
Well, I mean, as long as there are, some beautiful men like Ryan Reynolds in the world, I've got to try to keep up.
I'm not getting there, but I'll tell you what, like I do cut nicely. I do have to get my hair cut, though, to match it. But yes, I use Manscaped, everybody. Manscaped pays the bills here. They support our show. So go check them out. They have more products than just these two amazing ones available. And if you use promo code, and it's right down below, promo code SNOBS, you get 20% off and free shipping. But use it before May 14th. That is when it is finished, I guess.
3 short days. So use the promo code SNOBS while checking out for your Lawnmower 3.0.
Or 4.0, whatever you want to get. You can use it on anything you get off of there, and they have some great products. So head over to manscaped.com, use promo code SNOBS again for 20% off free shipping. See, I knew I would say it right. I had to prove to myself I would say it right. But yeah.
Lemons, ooh, lions, ah. It was a little touch and go at the beginning.
Other than that, I will take this graphic off and just say, what's going on, everybody?
Hi, everybody. Welcome.
Welcome to the Scene Snobs Podcast. I am your host, Mick Manhattan, joined as always by my partner in crime, the madman, Casey Plott.
A pleasure to see you all this evening. Welcome to my weird, wacky hole. I have moved recently. Part of the reason I was away for a bit, I've only been able to find one pin, one push pin, one thumbtack. So that's why there's only one piece of art behind me. I really enjoy the barren decor. Get to focus on the important stuff, like me.
Well, that is ridiculous, sir, that you can only find one thumbtack. But I will tell you this. If you can only find one thumbtack in a house and you need to hang something to show on camera, you've chosen wisely.
I thought so. I figured Han Solo, Frozen, and Carbonite. I mean, it really speaks right now to where I'm at as I'm in the middle of playing the game post-move of Where's My Stuff, which is always the worst game ever. Where's my stuff? I don't know. I packed it away. I packed everything away too well. Now my daughter's stuff, I found all of it. It's packed perfectly. Everything is easily found. It all went right. It moved very well. My stuff, on the other hand, no clue.
And that is why you were dressed like either superstar Billy Graham or or the man himself, Jesse the Body Ventura.
Well, I like to go by both, but Jesse Ventura was really strong. He had a lot of good ideas. He was a governor of Minnesota. He's really big into the wrestling career. He used to work with Vince McMahon. I don't know if you knew that. Just ask him; he'll tell you. He was also on a SEAL team. He's a big Big guy Jesse Ventura. And also in Predator, which is just one of the best movies ever. Hi, Corinne.
Hi, Corinne. Thanks for watching. Go buy Manscaped. So let me ask you this. I'm gonna do this for you. We're gonna play a little guessing game.
Okay.
All right, because you were out last week. It was Star Wars week. We didn't get a chance to do it. So I'm just gonna throw out not really a guessing game, a little trivia game from me to you.
Okay.
And if you answer them correctly, then you get a prize.
Are you going to come help me find my stuff? That'd be a
No,
pretty
I'm
awesome
going to give
prize.
you more stuff.
Oh,
the prize is getting something more on top of that stuff. So
well, then, yeah. Of course I want more stuff.
I am going to do... Okay, so I'm going to ask you 3 questions.
Okay, I'm going to answer all of them wrong.
Then you win. No.
Awesome.
It's going to be Star Wars related.
Okay.
Just to make up for it. Question number 1. What planet was Boba Fett from?
Camino.
Question number 2. What planet was Jango Fett from?
Bloody hell, it wasn't Mandalore.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think he's Mandalorian. I think he was actually a foundling. No, I'm pretty sure he was a foundling by a Mandalorian of the Watch, and that's why he was brought in by the Kaminoans.
The Concord Dawn. On the planet Concord Dawn.
Okay. There you go.
I'm going to make that right for you because you may not have known the planet, but you do know the history. Question number 3 for all the marbles. So that's 2 right.
Ready to go. Super excited for marbles. You didn't say marbles before. I didn't know there were marbles.
Not winning marbles. There's no marble winning.
Oh.
Question number 3. Where is the best scene in Star Wars? Now you have to decide. Is it a scene I would choose, or am I speaking from a different position?
I'm going to say it's the scene that takes place on the Millennium Falcon between Han and Leia when he smooches her in the hallway. I'm going to go with that one.
Consent is no joke, Casey.
I don't think it is. It's fantastic. It's a beautiful moment.
All right, it is a beautiful moment.
Because she's talking about how she likes nice men, and he's confessing that he is a nice man. And then they kind of fall on each other, and he smooches her.
That is fair.
That's what love is, man. As a young man, I tell you what, that was like, oh, okay, I get that.
I'm going to say you're wrong on that.
Oh, well, you know what? You're wrong. How about that?
Okay, well,
this whole system's wrong. Hey, 2 wrongs make it right.
That's 3 rights. You are going to win your own Weed Whacker, sir.
Yes.
From Manscaped.
Oh,
so
very
congratulations. Exciting. Casey knows best. As always, you won the Star Wars trivia. Just a little playback to what we couldn't achieve last week, but it's okay.
Well, happy May the 4th in the future.
What's today's date? May the 11th?
Yep.
May the 11th be with you. And also with you. All right. So anyway, we're getting into our topics tonight, everybody. If you're listening, you can jump in the comments, things like that. We're supposed to have a guest tonight. We're still waiting on him. Hopefully he'll be here soon. But with everything, I just saw the underscore and you threw me off. You bastard. Okay, so the thing was, Casey and I were hanging out the other night in person.
Mm-hmm. Because we're vaxxed.
You may have seen the Vax special we did, which was a terrible idea. So we were hanging out, and I told Casey he's got to start making social media for the Man. And of course, he goes with underscore, and I always thought it was a hyphen. And you, of course, changed it to an underscore because I know that was a hyphen at some point. Because
underscores are just more exciting. I feel like it throws more off. You're not sure is there something before? Is there something that we're skipping past? Why underscore it?
Well, we were talking about a few things that night, but two things we were talking about that we're going to bring up as topics tonight, and everybody can join in the comments, are some of the best friends in movie history. And we could expand it to TV, but I think we would argue more than anything. But we'll do both. We'll do both. Let's start with movies.
Okay. All right.
And also TV shows that we recommend to people, but people just refuse to watch. And we don't know why, because they're amazing.
I mean, a lot of it is time and also the way it's sold. If you sell someone the wrong thing the wrong way, like if you sell someone the Vampire Diaries as a love story, I don't know that it's going to come across that way. But then there's other times where you might try to sell like Supernatural as a Monster of the Week story, maybe for the first couple seasons, and then it just, I mean, it became the thing it is. It jumped all the sharks. They just went as crazy as they could.
That show for 15 straight years, every episode jumped the shark, and but they jumped it and landed it perfectly. They truly Fonzied that shark.
Yeah, they did. I'll give it to them. They did. For the 5 seasons I watched, I enjoyed. It's just a mountain I can't climb, bro.
It's such a good mountain too. I tell people Supernatural all the time, and I don't think I've had anybody successfully go through it.
Because it's a lot. It's an undertaking.
Oh, we got Dwayne Johnson and Kevin Hart are hilarious together.
Yes, they are.
Best. All right, so we were thinking characters, but I don't mind this. I like this. They clearly are best friends in real life. They have to be.
Yeah, them in Central Intelligence, they were great. They were hilarious in Jumanji. They've got so many things going for them. So many giant. I mean, they can do whatever they want. Those guys can do whatever they want now. But for me personally, I'm more of I'm thinking along the lines of Lethal Weapon. So Murtaugh and Riggs, the way they were integrated with one another's families. And of course, I'm going to go with Lethal Weapon because, come on, that's numero uno up there. Han and Chewie, another couple that, I mean, those were best buds just bouncing around the galaxy doing what they want to do.
Han and Chewie is definitely up there. I mean, listen, I love Riggs and Murtaugh, but I kind of have to take away the fact that they're cops for that. And the reason being, I say this, is because there's already a brotherhood standard when it comes to police.
So we're taking military out of this then too. We couldn't have military buddies be best friends in this.
I mean, no, listen, bring it up. But what I'm saying is if they weren't cops and they weren't partners, would they be friends?
I mean, fair, but isn't the circumstances in our lives that what put friends in our lives?
Listen, all right.
That's how friendships kind of created, is just bouncing around this crazy big ball. And then all of a sudden we land on someone because we're like, I like things you like. We talk well. And you got a decent face to stare at while we're talking. Cool.
Listen, I don't step on your house and say, Mama hungry. Okay. So don't be stepping on mine.
you mean my Bosnian Refuge Center back here?
Bill and Ted and Jay and Silent Bob. Here's why.
Jay and Silent Bob, absolutely. 100%.
No, I take it away.
Nope.
Take it away. Here's why. They're enablers. You're not supposed to be an enabler for your best friend.
Hold on. But Thelma and Louise were technically enablers. It doesn't take away from the fact that they were best friends while they were alive.
Were they? I mean, I'm sorry, but listen, if you straight up murdered a dude and then was go on the run with me, I'd have to rethink some things. I'd have to be okay, all right, dude, listen.
So we have families. It's a little different. If we were at a point in our lives where we didn't have families and I was straight up hey, bro, I killed a guy. We got to go.
You are always an enabler for your best friend. That's not true. Casey and I have pulled each other out of the sludge before.
Yeah, but that was because we were being stupid. We're talking about enabling hey, you want that other beer, don't you?
Yeah,
you get it, because that's just who we are. I mean, you do that to your friends all the time just because you want them to hang out more. How many times did you offer me pizza just so I wouldn't leave?
Very true.
Seriously, no, more pizza. If you want to eat, so hang out, pizza.
Yeah, that's true. And then we would end up all night just watching movies and talking. I do want to announce that we do have a very special guest tonight. Mr. Brian Sebastian from movie reviews and more is here. I'm going to have all his links in the descriptions after the show, so make sure, and that's on the any podcast platform you listen to, or it's over on our YouTube page. But I'm going to get ready to bring him in, and I want to hear what he has to say about this. But we're going to let him talk a little bit about movie reviews and more. So without further ado, let's bring in our guest. Hey, Brian.
Hey, Brian.
Hey there. I hope I'm not freezing. I was freezing on my own show, and that sucks. I hope you guys are doing okay.
No, you look good, man. You're all
seem
good
great. Yeah.
Hey, I don't know what it is. I have 13 co-hosts. They're all women, and we were talking about fitness and everything. I'm like, I got to get up. I love you, ladies. I got to get up. I got to talk to these guys.
Well, we appreciate it, man. We're so happy to have you here.
You know what? I have to say I'm honored to be on your show because you guys reached out to me, and I always say this: never say no, because you just never know what kind of new friendships you will establish. And I knew from Jimmy Starr and Ron Russell and a couple other people, Sherry Nelson, my co-host, that you guys, they like you guys. So I said, okay, if they like you guys, okay, sure, why not?
Well, I appreciate that. That's very nice. They might have been very drunk. So
No. They all speak the truth. No, my co-hosts speak the truth too. And you know what? If you like me, I got 13 co-hosts, all women. 5 of them are influencers. I'll throw them on you to your show if you like what we're doing.
Fantastic.
Listen, I love what you guys are doing over there. I was actually watching some of the show before we had to get started on here, and you guys are killing it. It's just so much fun. I'm getting into my fitness mode, so it was definitely helpful to listen to. Get my summer body.
I like what you guys are doing because, I'm always watching and paying attention to things around the world, whether it's different countries or different people. I like to go after those people and who may not be getting the recognition, if that makes sense. Everybody has a great story to tell, and it's one of those things where I learned from Samuel Jackson. He would read any script, which is why he's in every single movie and every commercial, because he has this fear of not working. So I said, if Samuel Jackson can do this, I want to make sure that we reach out to every person, because everybody started someplace. Don't be afraid to give someone a chance. You just never know who they may turn out to be. And I think that's always the case.
Absolutely agreed.
And I got to tell you, it is truly an honor to have you here, man. I really appreciate it. You have such a great show. And, for our listeners, and just in case anybody hasn't checked it out yet, please tell us a little bit about movie reviews and more, and how it got started, and what it's all about.
Well, I'm old school. I started in October. Actually, there's 2 stories. I really started in radio in 1983. I started backwards. I started in news radio because, when you're starting, you want to break in any way you can. So I actually worked on 2 stations. It was called WPOP, was a news radio broadcasting. And if you remember Merv Griffin, depending on how old people are, that's how I started. And when you're starting off in radio, you don't make any money. I worked 3 jobs at that point. I was working at Dunkin' Donuts, news radio. I was still in college, and I was working at KISS FM as a desk assistant, as an intern. I said, I'm getting in here some kind of way. And this was in Hartford, Connecticut. So Jeremy Savage was that. He would get up at 3 a.m. And this is what I learned. I don't want to be a morning guy, because you got to get up early in the morning and do stuff. So if you remember Jay Thomas, Power 106, I was there at the Los Angeles station because we were in market number 39. And they said, I don't want to go to New York. I want to go someplace where it's warm. So, but my options were, I was going to go either Little Rock or Madison, Wisconsin, or Denver. And I said, my friends are going to see me. They're going to get stuck at an airport. They're going to be snowed in. So I can't go to Wisconsin. I can't end up in Denver. So as I was in Denver, because I'm a drum and bugle cornet, I love marching band. I love the world of drum and bugle corps marching. And because I'm a drummer, we always bang harder. It was one of those things where on the way to the plane from Denver to Anaheim, I didn't go to Hollywood. I said, before I landed, I said, I'm going to move to California. And my friends in high school, who I'm good friends with, because I grew up in an all-white high school in East Lyme, Connecticut, a town of 7,000. There was only 3 black families in the 70s.
Oh, wow. So fellow Connecticut. That's fantastic. Yeah, I'm from Falls Village, the northwest corner there, Lakeville, Salisbury area.
I know exactly where that is. But so you understand what East Lyme is like. 7
Absolutely.
Private beaches and 1 state beach. Now imagine this in the 70s. We're the only black family moving in. The Ku Klux Klan was there. Someone killed my white dog. I didn't know that. I had a great time. My sister had a terrible time. Wow. But it was one of those things you put everything together. And remember the song Rapper's Delight?
Absolutely.
Well, when that came out, we started the Stock Hops, and I'm like, I'm the lone black guy here. I better become the disc jockey. That wouldn't be right if I'm in an all white school and the black guy's not the disc jockey. So I became the disc jockey, and till this day, my friends will tell you I played Rappers Delight. So they got the first taste of rap back then, and this is 1979.
Oh,
Think about
amazing.
that. Think about that. Look where rap is today.
That seriously shook Connecticut. That's a big deal.
Well, I came in from a mixed school, Waterford, Connecticut, and I said I was a great drummer because I watched in a drum and bugle corps. That's like the thing. Drumline is nothing. Drumline is drum and bugle corps is drumline on steroids. We are so professional. We're like the military. So that's where I learned a lot of stuff. So I came into East Lyme telling everybody what to do, and we were going to Jamaica. So our band, East Lyme High School Band, ended up being one of the best bands in Connecticut. However, a lot of us like drum and bugle corps. But so from that, I ended up being in radio, going to, Hartford, Connecticut, being on Merv Griffin, not making any money, but learning the ins and outs of everything. Moving to California, ended up, you know how you visualize something, you move to a new town and say, I'm going to do this, and you just get in. Well, I ended up, Power 106 was going up against Kiss FM in California. Kiss FM with who was on that? Rick Dees was on that. So Jay Thomas was our guy. And it was the first station that I'd been to that had a multicast. I'm like, well, this is cool. They were playing Cameo. They were playing everything. You had K-Rock was hot. You had, Mark and Brian, Brian became friends with me. All these people. So I learned from this. I said, one day we'll have to put something together where all types of people come in. So in October of 1993, when Clerks comes out, Pulp Fiction is out there. I'm working at the video stores. Remember video stores? I worked in the video stores. So all of this ends up being one thing. Kevin Smith, Clerks, worked in a video store. Quentin Tarantino worked in a video store. I worked in a video store. They became actors, producers, directors. I didn't want to do that stuff. I just wanted to be behind the scenes. So I became a host, producer, and I don't call myself a director, because I think it's taking away from real directors. But it's one of those things where you guys are doing everything now. And it's one of those things where you learn the ins and outs. So I said, one day I'm going to put this stuff together from public access, Channel 3. Remember those things when you put the VHS tape in? That's how I started. And I got accredited from the MPAA, coming from radio, starting in voiceovers, because it's Los Angeles. You're in the number 2 market. You got to break in any way that you can. And it was one of those things of, how am I going to do this? So I ended up doing voiceovers while I was still getting into radio. I was working as a desk assistant. I was doing promotions for Power 106 and doing the Florentine Gardens. And this is when the movie Colors, the rap era, shootings were going on. I learned all this stuff. I said, I don't want to be that public figure. Look where Ice-T is. Look where Ice Cube is. I was around all of these guys one way or another. And I'm like, I don't want to do that. I'm that black guy who's really white because I grew up in an all-white town in Connecticut. But I love classic rock. So I didn't know this was going to happen. So when I started mixing at the Sox Hop, I was mixing Richard Pryor to Yes in the background, owner of A Lonely Heart.
That's amazing.
Whoa. Try it one day. It works. Richard Pryor with Loner on the Lonely Heart, the 12-inch disc. So I learned how to do a lot of those things like that, and it worked. And I always said this, the more part was always going to be more important than the movie reviews and more. I didn't know what it was going to be right up until 2018 when things started changing, because I saw the virus coming. I didn't know the name of it. I knew we were going to do different things. I just knew we had to be prepared. So what did everybody need last year? Toilet paper and a hand sanitizer? Well, I've had that stuff for years. The Ellipto hand sanitizer, I've had it as a sponsor for five and a half years. It's the best hand sanitizer in the world because it has no chemicals in it. It's Ellipto. Anytime you smell Ellipto, that's what that is. So putting all that stuff together, we have 97 million followers in our social media network. You don't see it on my social media because Instagram and Twitter is a whole different ballgame. But on YouTube, we have 1.3 million views. Here's the other thing, and I hope you guys go by this. Go by views. And the reason why I say go by views, because you always unfollow someone. You can always unlike something. Oh, I like this now. I don't really like it. And you can always unsubscribe, but you can't unview a view. Yesterday, on one of our shows out of Tennessee, Franklin, Tennessee, not Nashville, Franklin, we hit 1.2 million views and still counting. That's one show. Wow. That's me, Katerina Kazayas, and Terry Marie. Terry Marie, one of my my main co-host, who picked me. I didn't pick her. She has over 3 million views. Now, remember this. You can't delete a view. Once you viewed that, you guys know this, it's there forever. You can always unfollow somebody. You can always unlike something. You can always unsubscribe, but you can't unview a view. So with us, we have 7.2 million views right now a day and counting. Each day, I start at 0 and add up all my numbers, and it comes to this. So when I show you this, as we're talking, my views count up to going back to April 16th of 2019. We started with nothing. And now we are at this number, if you guys can see it. See that number? That's today's number. And so if I were to scroll down, you see these numbers? Yeah. That goes all the way back to April 16th of 2019. So can I prove everything that we do? Absolutely. So that's just one show. We have another show because we're part of the Elvis Presley brand. I'm not an Elvis Presley brand fan. I am now because I'm part of the brand. So Graceland, St. Jude's Hospital, the Grand Ole Opry. I'm working on Dollywood, SWIP, Southern Women in Film and Television out of Tennessee. They adopted me. So these women, I said, I'm going to do whatever I can to help you. So Tennessee, we're huge. Alabama, we're working on. We have different things of what we're doing and how we're spreading everything around. But the whole thing was I wanted to put traditional with influencers and be that one guy. So think of Howard Stern. Think of Larry King. Think of, who's the guy on Fox that I liked? Bill O'Reilly and Oprah. We are a mix of all of that put together with no boundaries. And you guys are going to kick out of this. I actually came from the adult side. So everybody on the adult side, whether it's Nina Hartley, if you know who she is, or Amber Lynn, these are all my personal friends. Bill Margot, who was my co-host, the leading figure of the adult entertainment. If you ever saw Boogie Nights, the Burt Reynolds character is Bill Margot, my co-host, my old co-host.
Wow.
And so we put on nude and topless bowling, nude and topless golfing. We did all that stuff. So Vince Neil took over our golfing event for his daughter, Skylar, if you remember that. That's how that came about.
That's
so
awesome.
I would do all of these things to find out how everything worked. So there's a piece of me in everything. You may not like Howard Stern, but look where Howard is. You may not like Bill O'Reilly, but look what he accomplished on Fox.
Exactly.
You know, look what Oprah did, and look what Larry King did. So when I'm talking to people, I don't use notes. Everything is off the top of my head. So when I say it's an honor to be on your show, it is. And I say that meaningfully. I don't sugarcoat anything.
Brian, that's incredible you would say that. That's very humbling. I appreciate that. And it's fantastic to hear your story. I love knowing where you come from. And I've always considered
from
myself
Connecticut, right?
You know it.
I was a little more south
you get a kick out of this.
State, Jersey.
My favorite songs are Van Halen, Ain't Talking About Love. Eddie Van Halen knew this. Nice. David Lee Roth knew this. Because we became friends. My second favorite song is Kiss, Let Me Go Rock and Roll. The live version, 1975, I think, in Detroit, the Cobo Arena. Remember that? Mm-hmm. Gene Simmons knows this. I've never seen Kiss, but I was a ticket scalper in Connecticut. So I don't know when you left. Are you still in Connecticut?
No. I left in 2001.
Okay, so imagine this. 1983, I'm the black ticket scalper at the Hartford Civic Center in the New Haven Coliseum, where tickets was out of New Jersey, scalping tickets. So I got a chance to see every rock band except for Kiss and except for The Who, but I had tickets for. I sold them because people wanted them.
Oh, yeah, get the money.
Yeah, I mean, that's how I got to college. But Perfect. It was one of those things where I did a lot of things like that. Everything is connected. So why would I want to deny someone something like you guys or what you guys are doing? And think about this. On Spotify alone, last year there was 1.73 podcasts. Right now there's 2.7 million. How do you get noticed in that? You got to stand out. So do you think the black guy with 13 co-hosts, beautiful women, is not going to stand out in a different way, right? You've had Sherry Nelson on your show, right?
Yeah. And I got to tell you, Casey, you got to go now. I'm gonna go find some different co-hosts.
Yeah, you need to find way prettier people, man. We're doing this all wrong.
No, you're doing it right. But let me tell you why I did it, because the world of dressage, in the world of horses, and the world of fitness in 2008, I found out that they weren't getting publicity. And I said, you know what can I do to help these women who train their butts off on horses and in the world of fitness? And if you look at my YouTube, my uploaded show is 60,000 views. It's a horse video of me on a mechanical horse named Luke. And I'm like, why is that? Why do people like that? Well, in the world of, if you're an animal lover, people love horses. And I said, oh, and then my second biggest one is Amber Lynn, my friend Amber, who is one of the toughest people that you ever want to deal with. That's a whole nother story and a genre.
That sounds like a lot of stories. What do we got?
I mean, she's my second biggest one. But, there's a picture of me, an interview with me and Hulk Hogan and Layla Ali when she's pregnant. Hulk Hogan coming back and doing the Titans for NBC. Yeah. That's got like 120,000 views. That's 10 years ago now. So the views continue to go up. They don't stop. Out of Tennessee, they always go up. They never stay the same. That's why I said go by views. Because you and I may not be big on social media and certain things, but we can be big on our show, right? And I know you guys work your ass off doing yourself.
Well, he does all the work. I'm literally here for the looks and the jokes. That's it.
See, all you got to do is put on a wig and it may be a dress. I got that for you.
Yeah, I actually have a lovely shade of nail polish and some wonderful mascara. Let's do this thing.
Well, then from now on, you know what you need to be doing. You're gonna be my Connecticut babe.
Awesome. The Connecticut babe. It's perfect.
Well, here's one of the things. When I met Hugh Hefner, it wasn't about the sex. It was for like the girls next door. Hugh and I would talk about movies, because if you know who he was, he loved movies. He did his movie night screenings Thursday night. He'd give you the history of film like Sunset Boulevard. Sunday nights he did the same thing. He had so much sex, so sex was overrated for him. But for movies and all that stuff, that's what he really cared about.
That's why I love his magazine articles. The Playboy movie reviews were great. As much as you always get caught and be like, no, seriously, I'm reading it for the article. No one believes you. But
I really did read them for the articles because I knew Anna Nicole. I mean, there's a photo of Anna Nicole trying to attack me behind a curtain during her Guess Jeans things. And did I want to have sex with her? Hell yeah, it's Anna Nicole. But I was so scared that I was like, no, I want to be able to interview this lady years later. And then you'll never forget this. 3 weeks later, she comes in, because remember she was Miss Bahamas. You remember that?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
3 weeks later, she comes in to Planet Hollywood in Beverly Hills, and this woman was all over me. I didn't know I was going to do an interview. I did a 40-minute interview with her, and it's me. If you see the picture of me on my Instagram, on my Facebook, I'm looking scared because I didn't want to ruin my future interviews.
Right, and exactly.
She's like all over me. I'm like, I got to be professional. I want to interview this. 3 weeks later, this woman didn't remember who the hell I was. And I'm like, oh, I get it. I see. I'm like, okay, all right. Yeah, how do you forget a black guy that you did one-on-one with 40 minutes, by yourself, and all of a sudden you're looking up, you got a crowd of 40 people there. And I'm not sure they could hear what we were talking about because it was just she and I. But I was so involved in that. I'm like, okay, so I know how this works. Mm-hmm. So I said, always make them remember who you are. So how do you not remember the last name Sebastian? Even if you're a little Little Mermaid thing, the character is Sebastian. Yep. So I said, you know what? You're going to always remember me one way or another. So all the interviews that I ever did, going back to Charlton Heston, to Siegfried and Roy, I wanted to make sure that they remembered me. And you know what? If I knew you two, I would have invited you guys to my interviews because I lived vicariously through the friends that I invited. Whether it was my swinger friends, whether it was my friends on the adult side, whether it was someone who was in the middle of committing suicide or who was depressed. The reason why I brought them to the things that I was doing, I wanted to take them out of their misery world that they were in, and I wanted to give them hope and inspiration to say, you know what, if I can do something like this, who is it that inspires you? And I would always ask people, if you both told me who you liked, I could tell you who I was going to interview them. And I said, you know what, I got this interview coming up. Come with me. If I liked you, I would invite you because it's cause and effect. I've been practicing Buddhism for 33 years. All the good that you can do at that comes back to me in different ways. That's all I know. I didn't do it to be malicious. Did I break rules and everything? Hell yeah, because you got to get in some kind of way. But I didn't do it to piss people off. I did it because I found a different way, if that makes sense, right?
Absolutely. We all have to forge our own path. And in some ways are different and some easier and some are more eclectic. Like I've personally been sort of the all over the place guy. So I completely get that.
Yeah, I love that philosophy too of, you're helping. You want to take care of them when, they may be down, and you're taking your good fortune and spreading it around. That's a beautiful way to do it.
Yes, it's simple. It's cause and effect, but it's the most difficult thing to do because you can't do it because you have to do it. You have to do it because you want to do it and you care and you want to help people. That's what we really want to do. And then your theme today was on buddy films. When I think of Bill and Ted's Adventure, I remember when Keanu Reeves started, Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. And then he went back last year and they released it, Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. Look where he is now. Yeah. Because if he hadn't have said yes, do you know who it would have went to? You guys know that answer? Person. Will Smith.
Oh, really?
Will Smith was supposed to be in The Matrix. He turned it down. You didn't know that?
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, that was supposed to be Will Smith, not Keanu. Look what happened with Keanu.
Yeah.
Could you imagine that? I mean, I could see Will Smith doing it. It would just be a different movie.
Yeah. I mean, think about this. If you ever Google and you get a chance, ask Google. I call Google the machine. Ask Google which artist turned down major roles that went to someone else that became a hit. It's very interesting.
Oh yeah, I gotta imagine. There's so many of them. Sometimes I see them pop up, like the little trivias pop up in places, and then I'm always like on this whole different realm of like, well, what would that movie have been like?
Absolutely, that's the whole thing. So what I did from 1993 to really 2 years ago, because everything started to change, I did the radio roundtable interviews where if you've ever been to the Four Seasons in Beverly Hills, you would come in, we would get 20 minutes. There used to be 27 of us. You had to be nationally syndicated. I was not. I had to fight to get in there. I mean, I love movies, so I saw everything because I worked in, guess what, a video store. And if you ever get a chance, see the last Blockbuster on Netflix. It's very good. Because, and the reason why I say that for the audience who hasn't seen it, check it out, because now you have to say where you're seeing these movies, because back in the day when we were doing stuff in the 90s, remember Miramax? Remember Harvey Weinstein? Those movies were kicking ass. Who was the parent company? Disney. Disney wasn't doing anything. They left them alone. Same thing with New Line Cinema. Who was the parent company? Warner Brothers. So as long as they were making money, you left them alone. Fox Searchlight, 20th Century Fox. Who owns all the stuff now? Disney.
Disney owns everything now.
So, but here's the thing. I'm sure you guys aren't Disney material. I definitely wasn't Disney material. I could barely stand to wear my khakis and my blue shirt when I worked for Best Buy. and when I worked for Blockbuster, that's the last thing I wanted to see was someone to see me in my Blockbuster shirt. But people came into the store because I could pick good movies. And if you didn't go home with a good movie, I think of Chris Penn. I think of what was his name? Ritter. Jason Ritter's dad. John Ritter. I remember, I never saw this before. John Ritter came in to rent two of his own movies. I'm like, is he trying to get a date? Is he inviting someone to watch his own movies?
And I never trying to prove to him I was in a movie.
I never forgot that. But I mean, how could you not? He was on Three's Company, I mean, I never forgot that. So I always pick movies for these people. And then how I got into this, one guy said, Brian, why don't you do movie reviews? I'm like, well, how do you do that? He goes, you have to call the MPAA. And for those people who don't know what that is, then it was called the Motion Picture Association of America. Now it's called the Motion Picture Association. They shortened it. They took out one of the A's. So when it comes to those things, they said this, and I'll never forget. And this is in early 1994, because I got accredited summer of 1994. And they said, well, you have to get 5 directors and 5 producers to accredit your show. And you know who they mentioned? They go, Steven Spielberg, Francis Ford Coppola, and George Lucas. What? I go, what? I don't even know these people. How am I supposed to, what am I going to do? Call them up, go to where they live? I didn't know where they live. And I never forgot that. Now, this is, I'm winding down my video video store days at this point. And in Southern California, think of 1993, 94, wherever you may have been. These are the heydays of the video stores.
Mm-hmm.
Ted Sardos, if you don't know who he is, guess what he owns? Netflix. Ted came out of the home video era. I met him once, but here's the thing. We came out of that. So all the things that I do now from home video still apply to this day. They still work. And if you saw the last Blockbuster, you know what I'm talking about. It still works.
Yep.
So that's kind of how I started stuff. I said, I'm going to always have a mix of stuff. Those B films, Don the Dragon Wilson, Jean-Claude Van Damme, they all became friends. I was a martial artist. You remember Billy Blanks, Tybo?
Yeah.
Billy was my sensei in Connecticut. Remember Central Connecticut State College?
Yeah.
That's where I took karate. He was my sensei.
That's amazing.
That is awesome.
Billy and I are friends till this day. I saw him 2 years ago, and I'm like thinking, can I get Billy on my show? I got his number. I'm like, can I get him on the show? Do I want to have him on the show? I'm like, yeah, we could talk about that. Remember Buns of Steels? Tammy Lee Webb, Buns of Steel? Tammy is a friend, but she's not good at marketing. But here's the thing. She sold 15 million VHS tapes. Think about that.
Wow.
She started that craze.
Yeah.
She's responsible for the fitness era. And then Jane Fonda came in, Kathy Smith, Denise Austin, who's still in it. Now her daughter, Katie Austin, is in. That's Susan the area that I was around.
Yeah, that's wild. Wow.
So you put all that stuff together, just that little bit of what I told you, there isn't anything that I wasn't touching. Mm-hmm. I just didn't want to be that star because I watched what was going on with all those people. That's not me. Mm-hmm. I wanted to be more behind the scenes. I wanted to be the host, but I don't want to be famous. I still don't. That doesn't interest me. However, if I like you, I'll push you and make you do that. I'll make you be famous in a good, positive way. If that makes sense. That's
absolutely
different.
Well, in an uplifting way, in a way that doesn't really detract from others, in a way where you're not trying to take from anyone else's part. You're trying to just add. And that's one of the things. There can be plenty of us. There's a lot of people out there who want to watch stuff. There can be many of us. So it's a beautiful thing with this community that I've found slowly over the years.
And that's one thing Casey and I have talked about too, and I've talked with other people who do movie reviews. I see a lot of pessimism when it comes to that, where it's like, this movie's terrible. I always try to look at it from a point of view. I'm always going to find something in the movie I like. I don't care how bad. Trust me. You guys know, especially working in video stores, you've seen bad. You know bad. But tell me you haven't found one thing in something absolutely terrible that you couldn't say, I like that though.
Well, and here's the thing. I pick films for Hollywood Film Festival, Beloit International Film Festival, Beloit, Wisconsin, Swift Southern Women in Film and Television, and in Tennessee, Nashville, Tennessee, LA Greek Film Festival, which is going on right now in Los Angeles. My thing is, I know what it's like to pick those films. There's a rule. I don't abide by it. Never have, never will. 10 minutes. If it doesn't capture in 10 minutes, they go on to the next thing. I never did that. I found it disrespectful. I understand why people do that, but that's never me. I come from the old days when they would mail me VHS tapes in the mail. Imagine this. At one point, I had over 220 tapes at my house, and I watched every single one of them. 1991 was the year that I will never tell you how many films I saw in 1 year because I never counted them. 1992, right up until this year, is when I count them. So every month, every day, I write down what I see. Only in 2016 did I start writing down short films because I thought, they didn't count. So last year I saw 1,918 films. That's not a lot. It was 703 less than what I would normally see.
Wow.
Now that's TV shows, that's feature films, that's stuff that people would never ever see of that in film festivals that may have never seen the light of day. And there's a lot of great films out there that people have never seen that don't have distribution. And that saddens me because there's just many, many great films. So when I see a lot of these things coming out there, and now we have different platforms, it's an injustice that we don't help that independent filmmaker. It's an injustice that we don't help that person who's doing scoring, a Hans Zimmerman, a Trent Reznor. Look at these rock and rollers who are winning Oscars now. I think that's great. People are venturing out. I remember when Rob Zombie, remember the House of a Thousand Corpses?
Yep.
Now, that's not necessarily a great film, but Rob Zombie is an iconic. He's a film lover. So it was an honor. I didn't know who Rob Zombie was, but it was my girlfriend who loved Rob Zombie and Ozzy Osbourne. You
Nice.
bet your ass I became friends with Sharon and Kelly. And what's the son's name? I can't remember.
Jack, yeah.
Yeah, Jack. We became friends. I never got a chance to really talk to Ozzy because he was going through his MS and stuff phase. But we are friends when it came to that. So I said, if someone's going to get into that world, honor them, help them out. That's what we're supposed to be doing.
Agreed.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
That's very true.
I do have a question for you because you've been reviewing movies and more. You've been reviewing movies for so long, and now we see, with the start of the internet, like it started opening up the voice a lot more. I know for me, when the internet was starting and I got to read more and more movie reviews rather than watch the old guys on the news channels, it just opened up a lot for me. But for you to see where it's at today, and it seems like there's, I don't want to say an oversaturation, but there's a lot of movie reviewers out there who just have the platform to write now. How do you feel about that going on? Do you think voices are getting lost? Talented voices are getting lost out there?
You were breaking up a little bit, but I knew what you were saying. When it comes to this, think about this. There isn't a Siskel and Ebert anymore. There's no Gene Shalit anymore. There's no David Sheen if you live in Los Angeles anymore. They've all passed away. These guys were friends at one point. There's about 23 of us left. That's not a lot. Now, I'm not counting print people because you may not know who they are. You may see them on a show like Variety or The Wrap, but do they have the viewers? No. Take away their big outlet, they don't have views. Remember, it's about the view.
Oh, we lost Brian. Hopefully he'll be back. Oh, that was such a great conversation.
I know. That was so.
But let me ask you, while we're sitting here, and this is a good topic, and I want to hear what you have to say about this case.
Shoot,
you and I have always talked movies. We've always been a big fan of it. How do you feel about just going on? Oh, Brian should be popping back on. But how do you feel about so many reviewers and people writing articles about movies?
I think it's better because you're able to find voices that kind of maybe speak to you better. Not someone who's just going to agree with your opinion, but someone who can say it the way you want it. Someone who's looking for a more artistic view has a greater number of artistic viewing and reviewing people. So it's actually nice having that big spread. So I think it's better to have more voices because you kind of get to choose your lane and you get to really appreciate more ideas, more views. And like Brian said, it gives you the opportunity to see different movies that you might not have originally because there are other voices to potentially interest you. Brian, sorry we lost you, man.
Sorry about that. I got kicked off. I don't know how it happened. But it's one of those things where you guys have power now. I think it's interesting that the average person can come and start talking about movies because they're fan lovers. I think that's great. So these guys have to compete with you now. I think that's good.
Yeah, it should theoretically keep the artistic juices flowing, keep them moving. If there's always someone pushing you, you should be being pushed to be better. So that's in theory the way it should work. Not as long as there's no undercutting and people aren't backbiting, and then it gets all ugly and stuff.
I know, yeah. Even with podcasting, and this is our 10th year. Casey and I have both been doing this for 10 years, not together, some not together. But we have always been under the mindset, especially when it came to the Scene Snobs, was we have to reevaluate ourselves every so often, like every few weeks or so, and see how we're doing. We always are paying attention to what other shows are doing, because if we're not making ourselves better, if we're not, like you said, if we're not standing out by improving, or doing things that, others aren't, and we're not going to know that without looking at other shows.
Well, and especially staying true to our mission statement. Our whole point in all of this was the fact that we love movies, we love reviewing movies, but we also want to bring entertainment because there's enough bad going on in the world. Let's make some people smile once in a while. So if for 1 hour we can say something funny and maybe touch some people while also maybe inspire some different movie watching that someone hasn't ever considered before, I'd say that's a good hour.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you this. Have you guys gone back to the theaters yet?
Yeah.
I have not yet.
Are you interested going back, or are you concerned?
Oh yeah. Oh no, I absolutely desire it. I am missing it. It's like that drug I haven't had in years, and I'm like, I need that popcorn, whatever that golden fake butter is. I have to have it. I have to see my giant screen and some weird messed up funky seats. Yeah. Yeah,
I was at the theater last week. Our theater, our Alamo Draft House here in Winchester, Virginia, opened up last July, and they were one of the first theaters in the country to open. And they kind of wrote the book on how to do it with COVID safety rules and guidelines in effect. I've been going since last July. Like, I don't go every day, and maybe not even once a week, maybe a couple of times a month, but I've never felt like I wasn't safe.
Brian, how have you been doing with everything? Have you been heading it back out to the theaters yet?
No, and I'll tell you why. I'm a movie whore, first of all. I like you said, I gotta have my popcorn. I love going to Lemley's theaters and stuff like that. Not only do I get free passes, not only do I get the links, I love the going to the movie experience. I go up to the, to pay, and I'm like, if I don't have my tickets, I'm like, oh, I gotta pay. It's $12. Oh, but I'm like, I'm such a movie whore that I have to go see the movie because that's my getaway. So no, I have not gone, and a lot of my brethren and my sisters have not gone because I always say this: it's what you do in the dark. I know what's not clean and really what's not, and they just haven't figured out the ventilation, if that makes sense.
Totally valid.
So remember, I know what they haven't done because I've been on the Amtrak. I've been in the hotels. When I've got to take, and I don't have it here in front of me, but I have always had remember I said I've always had my own hand sanitizer, and I've got my Lysol and other things that I have that people don't even know that's really good. I've been taking this stuff with me for years. Handy wipes, because I worked on a horse ranch. I'm always washed my hands. What did we all have to do last year? Mask, hand sanitizer, and everything. And I've been saying this since 2003. If the Chinese and most Asians were coming as tourists to Hollywood, California, and wearing masks that long, what does that tell you? It's just a matter of time before something that comes outside to the U.S. comes inside the U.S., and we have to adapt to that.
Absolutely.
So if we're not adapting, we're not being flexible, and we're not adjusting, your life is on the line, and you won't make it in your business if not all three. And that's very sad.
Yeah, it's very true, though. I mean, you have to adapt and overcome. I mean, that's something that I'm very grateful that the military taught me, of all places. I managed to learn it there young, so it has taken me far.
And then the other thing about that is I knew the theater because I've been in contact with theater owners. I was wanting to get Regal Theaters for years as a sponsor. I was telling them, I was calling them May as early as May 2018, officially October 3rd of 2018. You guys need to change your business around. This is why. This is what's coming. Now, do you think they were listening to the black guy who came from Connecticut? No. This is before I had any millions of views. They're listening now. You know why? Because I kept badgering them and I kept telling them, if you guys don't change, your business is going to go out. What happened last year? I've been doing this since 2016, telling them what was going to happen. Norwegian Cruises, the same thing. I'm on record. If you go back and watch any of my shows, any of the interviews that I've done, I've been saying this since October 3rd of 2018.
And it's crazy to me how many people were saying this, and people weren't listening to it. Like you said, that why would they listen to you? And, just like if we say something, why would they listen to us? Because they think they know better.
Of course.
Fast forward, because we're paying attention.
So
everybody knows better until it's too late.
Yeah.
Exactly. If you think of Spotlight, remember that movie Spotlight out of Massachusetts?
I love that movie. Fantastic.
You think of Spotlight, you think of The Big Short. What was it? There was the Brad Pitt one. Was he in that?
The Big Short.
Big Short.
Yeah, The Big Short. Those were warnings. When you go back and look at those, it tells you a lot. When I'm watching anything, because I love documentaries, Ken Burns, Michael Moore, Barbara Koppel.
I love Ken Burns. That man he touches my heart. He knows how to speak.
I watched his country music. I just recently watched his country music documentary, and it blew me away. He did a fantastic job with it.
So good.
Yeah, but so here's the backside. And Ken's a friend, and his daughter's a great documentary filmmaker also. Do you know it took him 6 years to do that? And he did 82 interviews with all those people. Half of them passed away as he was doing that. Did you know that?
I had no idea.
I saw somewhere like he did have interviews, and I was like, well, this person passed away. So I imagine like the timeline. I didn't know it was 6 years, which is a huge undertaking, but I didn't know.
That seems like him, though. It seems like he has like 5 things going on every time, and they all take 10 plus years. He's incredible.
No, you're right.
Detail.
Ken makes 5 documentaries at the same time. He does do that. And if you look at my Instagram, you'll see the latest photo of me and Ken, which was for the history of country music. It was at the Gene Autry Museum in at Griffin Park. This is in 2019. This is like July or August of 2019. Now remember,
right before the terrible things happened.
Well, remember, I knew this stuff was coming. It was just a matter. I didn't know what the name of the virus was going to be. I didn't know what day it was going to hit, but I could feel it as of definitely February 2nd when I was at Super Bowl in Miami. But I knew kind of a little bit January 7th of 2019 because of 2020 because I was at the CES show. And remember, I'm looking for technology, environmentally friendly, sustainable that no one's got. Guess who I was around? The Italian startups and all the Asians. Because guess what? China makes everything. Yeah. So I was around a lot of them. And if you dig deep into my Instagram, you'll see video of stuff that I captured at that point. Look at the date.
That's fascinating.
Yeah. And, well, doing that and, especially before things closed down and you were able to get out there and do it, like, what is it that you would be, whether it's research or just picking up on that, you were just like, all right, I need to focus on this. This is going to be something. Like, where's that foresight come from?
I have a shaman, Jory Delaney, who's been reading me and giving me spiritual cleansing since October of 1993. She told me everything back then. And then, so whether people believe in past lives or reincarnation, I don't care if you believe in it or not, but I'm telling you, it's true. And then, my partner, Montague Pope LeBeau, he's a channeler. So when the messages were coming in, I will show you this black book, which, by the way, says Bank of America. It says, you can't see it, but it's the history of country music that Ken Burns gave me.
Oh, that's amazing. That's awesome.
Everything is written in here when they come through. So when they're telling me, Brian, you need to do this, you need to show more compassion, you need to show more empathy, you need to be a little bit more patient. And even though I think I am, if they're telling me, that means I'm not. So
I get that feeling a lot.
But here's the thing. So our Dreamweaver Artist Ranch, which is in Redding, California, you guys will be invited sometime next year. That is all environmentally friendly, sustainable. It's 542 acres. We're only using 36. Imagine this. I call it, it's a toss-up between Disneyland and the Sundance Film Festival. Now, everybody always wants to have the film and everything and go to Sundance for the experience. Mm-hmm. And everybody always wants to go to Disney. Well, why? Because Disney owns Marvel, Star Wars, and Pixar. So imagine all the CEOs coming, just like my show. You never know who's going to be there, but it's on 36 acres. We have 25 tiny houses that we're going to be building up. Each house is valued at $55,000 because of the technology, from the door handles, virus-free, from the flooring to the showers. 950 square feet.
That's fantastic, Brian. Now, are you going in? Now, is this all off grid? Or are you using like solar? Are you doing rain collecting with water?
We have all that stuff. So we're going to have WaterGen, which is an Israeli company. If you get a chance to look it up, WaterGen, either drinkable air. We have a hydro water plant at it because we're going to have food shortages and water shortages. Think of what's happening in California. Think with anything desert. It's gotten hotter. So if you live in Miami, the water is rising. I don't know when's the last time you guys went to Miami, but when I saw the water rise February 2nd of last year, where the Super Bowl was, this I'll never forget. I should have taken a video of it, but I was shocked. This lady, and I know for sure she didn't park her car in almost above ankle deep water, and this was 10:30 in the morning. She must have parked at like 7:30, 8:30, the most. The water rose up, and she's wearing these nice high heel shoes and and stockings. And I was like, is she gonna take her, shoes off? How is she gonna do this? And I didn't know because I had never seen it before. She walked with her shoes into the car, into the puddle, and I'm like thinking she's in her car. I'm like, and she parked deep into the parking structure. There was only like 20 cars there, and I'm like, is she taking her nylons off now? Is she driving with it? I've never seen this before.
Yeah, Miami, they commit in Miami. They
really do.
But here's the thing. If the water raises another 2 inches in Miami, it's flooded. Guess what's melting? The Antarctica.
Mm-hmm.
There's actually stuff coming out. How do I know this? You guys get a chance. It's called Chasing Ice. I did the interviews in either 03 or 06 with the director when he had 44 or 46 cameras at the Antarctic.
Yep.
And in 1 year, he saw this. That's in that time. Look where we are now.
Oh, it's incredible. Like, I mean, one of the shelves just broke off. One of the big ones that the cracks that they were waiting for, it finally met, and that cracked off. And now we're like, oh, that's great. That's just one of the giant pieces of the Antarctic shelf. That's exciting.
And you know what happens when the water rises. So you put hurricanes, tornadoes, all this stuff together. When I grew up in Connecticut, we had one hurricane. It was Hurricane Gloria, if I remember correct. Now, when the East Coast gets all these hurricanes and tornadoes, and if they get earthquakes, those buildings aren't set for earthquakes, right? California is, but the East Coast is not.
Yeah, the weather patterns have been nuts, especially with everything changing, jet streams moving the way they have. It's been fascinating to watch, but it's all happening real time. So anyone who keeps complaining about, well, this isn't real, it's like, well, it's actively happening, y'all. We are looking at it.
Now, remember this. I don't care if you think it's real or not. I'm telling you what's happening. Remember, if I've got 7.2 million views a day and counting, I must know a little bit of something, right?
Got something right there.
And for the Dreamweaver Artist Ranch, we're built on granite. So we don't have to worry about San Andreas Fault or anything like that. Yeah. We're high enough up. We don't have to worry about smog. We don't have to worry about a tsunami. The only three things that we can't take care of is a cosmet, an asteroid, and a meteorite. Those are the only three things that we can't factor in because there's nothing you can do about it.
And maybe a giant Chinese rocket falling from the solar system. Who knows? That's
no, we're okay. We're okay on that because we're high enough up.
Smart. There you go.
That's already factored in. Remember,
beautiful.
We got all that stuff taken care of already. So on the 36 acres, we only have 200 people on it at one point. Down from 100. At one point, it was going to be 300. So we had to adapt and adjust to that new change. So all the stuff that we're doing is outside. So when I have our private screenings, we put it up on a giant blow up screen. You've seen those.
Yeah,
that's how you have to do stuff.
That's perfect. Yeah, that's fantastic.
So you guys,
I can't wait to come. That sounds awesome.
Well, remember when we did this show, and remember I told you what we have building up, and you got to look back at this and say, "Yep, he told us on this date at this time." That's what I do. I'm on record for it. And remember, environmentally friendly, sustainable, and net zero.
It's the way to be.
I love that. Oh, it's perfect.
The only way forward.
So think about this. We have 10 acres that we're going to be growing our own food. There's never been a fire. There's been no fracking, and it's never been contaminated. And it's in the Mount Shasta area of Northern California. Did I think I was going to end up in Northern California? No. We have no choice because the world has changed.
Yep, everything's shifting people that way. That's just what's happening.
It really is.
Think about this. Mick, think about this. Think about all the people who left the cities last year during COVID. Where'd they go? Right?
Yep. Oh, yeah. Out into the sustainable world.
Not a coincidence. Not a coincidence, is it? Now, I'm not talking about, I'm not talking about preppers. That's a whole different thing. No, I'm talking about we can have any event on our property because it's the right place, high enough altitude, so we don't have to worry about a tsunami. We don't have to worry about Chinese smog because of what they may be burning and whatever, and it carries over.
Right.
All that stuff is factored in, and it's called the Dreamweaver Artist Ranch. And if I invite you, that means you're one of the lucky people to come and see what we're building up because we want people to see what we're doing.
Yeah, that's amazing.
And then you guys will be able to do a show. You'll be able to see how we built everything up and why we built it up and why it's there because everything's changing, whether people believe it or not.
I love that. That's it. And it's what we need now.
It's amazing, Brian. I'd be so excited to come out and visit. That just sounds radical. It's so close to what I grew up with in the mountains in the Appalachian Trail over in Northwest Connecticut. That's where I need to be back to. That rarefied air, and especially getting away from all of the low floodplain areas. That's my concern. That's
well, in East Lyme, Connecticut. I never forgot this. When we moved in, 2 families moved out. Mm-hmm. And this is January of 1978. So imagine during midterms, you move into an all-white neighborhood, beautiful upscale neighborhood, and then 2 members move out. I'll never forget. We had a long driveway and a long yard, and my neighbors. I didn't see kids for months. Kids didn't play in the yards like they did in Waterford, in New London, Connecticut. I was like, where is everybody? And then I finally meeting my neighbors. Oh, you moved in next to us. I'm like, I've not seen any kids. I'm looking for them. I didn't see them going to school. What did you take a magic carpet to get to school? I didn't see any. Nobody was walking. People were being dropped off. I'm like, how do you know where I live? Well, there was only 3 black families out of 7,000. They all knew what we were doing,
Yep.
But it was one of those things where one of the neighbors, and I knew they were older. I never met them. I ran out because I heard they were moving in, and I waved at them. And I'll never forget the older lady. She must have been in her 70s or 80s. She turned her head like this. And I never forgot that. And I said, wow, they don't even know me. I never forgot that. That was in 1978.
Yep, sounds about right. That's us northern folk. We're all just bitter and cold.
So those things leave a lasting impression.
Of course they do.
You remember how you would walk through the traffic just to get through, and you didn't go to the stop signs and actually cross?
Right.
Imagine this, hearing click, 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 the door locks.
Oh.
That screws with you. I never forgot that.
Yeah.
It's so crazy to me too. I mean, to hear, stories like that, and like I grew up in Jersey City, so
What
it was
part?
like, what?
What part of Jersey?
Oh, sorry, Greenfield Avenue.
Okay.
So Jersey City in the 80s, 90s, around that time, and I was one of the only white families in the area. So it was a different world.
You know what it's like. You know what it's like.
But when we moved to, no, I don't. That's the thing. What your experience is, I've never had those issues with the other black kids, or we grew up in it was a big Hispanic area and such. So when I moved to the suburbs, that's when I started seeing issues like that. I look back and I'm like, I don't have any real stories for you to say, like, black kids or Latino kids or anything like that gave me any problems. I have lots of stories I could tell you where white kids gave me problems.
Well, let me ask you this. Why did they give you problems when you moved to the suburbs? Because I know why, but I want to hear it from you.
Because they're stuck up little shits. That's why.
Well, exactly. They thought they were better. I mean, if you look back at any of the 80s movies, and I call them John Hughes movies. Remember the Brat Pack?
Love the John Hughes movies. St. Elmo's Fire, Breakfast Club. Absolutely.
Well, think about this. The reason I didn't like them, because I couldn't identify with them, because he was from Chicago. He grew up in a different time. Mm-hmm. They didn't have anybody of color in them, but they were good movies. And I was like, well, these are great movies. Now, remember, I'm doing interviews at these points. I'm the lone black guy in the room. And I'm sitting next to talent coming in, whether it's Keith Sutherland, whether it's, Emilio Estevez, all these people. What was her name from Pretty in Pink?
Molly Ringwald,
all of them.
Larder. Yeah.
I loved Ali Lawler. I really like Ali Lawler when she did Heroes. I'm like,
yes, agreed.
Yep.
But I'm interviewing all these people. Remember, one of my books is going to be called, probably if I keep the same title, The Only One in the Room, because I didn't talk black. I didn't sound like it. Black women didn't like me. They thought I was a cop. They thought I was gay because I talked to you proper. They would say, why do you talk so proper? Are you a cop? Are you gay? Why come you're not hitting on me? I'm like, well, I was raised to respect people. I grew up in a different time, different.
Yeah, place, it's weird. People are still weirded out when I'm like, I'm just being respectful. I don't understand why that's an issue.
I mean, I've left more women in bed than I did having sex with them, because it was better to hug them than it was to F them.
Valid. Yeah, no, there can be a lot of problems. Look, there's sometimes cuddling is one of the greatest things and one of the best ways to connect with people. I will commit to cuddling my entire life. Cuddles
I did better. That.
Yep.
Now, so imagine this. Me and Hugh Hefner would have talks like this. We'd be in the corner, me and Hugh, just talking about stuff like this. And then we talk about movies. We weren't talking about sex. We were just talking about relationships. And He's listening to me. And I'm like thinking, well, Hugh Hefner's listening to me? Why is he listening to me?
Because he was a smart guy and he listened. I think that's what it's such a lost art to not listen. Everyone speaks to react or wants to wait to speak so they can get their point out. They're not listening, and it's so important to have real conversation. I think that's one of the best things we've been able to do is come back and be able to meet people like you, Brian, and interact and have real conversation. It's fantastic. I love this. It's been an honor having you.
If you don't learn to listen, you need to listen to learn.
That's good.
That's a great point.
I like that. Yep.
I have a bunch of sayings. You know, my idol was Roddy Piper from the WWF,
Yes.
WWE.
Yes.
Hot Rod was my idol. He had
Hot
the best
Rod.
liners. And, you know, so when I met him, you'll see these pictures if you go to either in my Facebook or my Instagram, way down. It's one of the things. These are the people that inspire me. And the reason why I liked him is because he could talk on the mic. And I said, I can't talk like that. I can't rap. I'm a black guy that can't rap. And I was like, you know what? So I got to find another niche to do something. And I wouldn't change anything. But I would say this. If I can be 3 people, not 2 people, in a 24-hour period, it would be Tiger Woods. Who's the other one? This guy, Ron Russell, who you know.
Oh, yeah, Ron Russell. Love Ron.
And Bruce Lee in a 24-hour period. Those are the 3 people I would be. Because I would want to know what I would be like to be in their shoes in only a couple hours.
Yeah, those are 3 amazing choices. Too.
I mean, Bruce Lee, honestly, I could only handle a couple hours in his shoes. I feel like there's a lot of activity. There's a lot of things going on.
Exactly. And they would have to be the waking hours. So I would always be training because Bruce Lee was my idol. You know, that's what made a lot of us get into martial arts. Again, as I said, Billy Blanks was my sensei, you know. Who would have known? I didn't know he was going to go to Hollywood and be famous. Who knew? Who saw Tybo coming? I didn't
exactly.
See that coming.
It's fantastic to see how people just grow, and when the way the universe just links people who are like-minded and driven in a similar direction together. It's a wonderful thing.
So all I'm doing now is just that's why when I say it's an honor to be on your show, it is because you've got to say yes to people. You just never know what kind of relationship is going to come out of this. And like I said, we're at 7.2 million views now. That's nothing. We're going to be at 10 million views a day and counting. If I'm lucky, we will get to 20 to 25 by the end of the year a day. Nobody has that in the world. That's my goal. That's one of the goals.
That's the way to do it, Brian. And I have no doubt you will achieve it, good sir. That's fantastic.
We're going to try and get there too.
Yeah, right. Slowly coming behind on that little tricycle.
Working on it. But I want to say, Brian, I just want to say thank you so much for coming on the show tonight, man. We really appreciate it. We got to get you on our BTV show because that's all it's just a bunch of guys who worked at a video store and we talk about movies.
I would love that.
Yeah, that's, we got to bring you on that one.
That's what started everything for me. And you know what I miss? I miss going to a video store. I miss challenging someone, you know, find me something that I haven't seen. Find me something. Let's see how good you are.
That was the movie gallery game. I was a movie gallery guy. He was a Hollywood video. So all of us are represented well here.
I remember Hollywood video coming. So think about this. There was when I moved in 1987 to Westwood, California, I was originally supposed to go. I wanted to go to Walnut Creek. I wanted to go up to Santa Clara to be near the Santa Clara Drum and Bugle Corps. I didn't make it up there because I ended up in Westwood. So they had 16 theaters there in Westwood. Westwood was the hot happening spot in California. And then all the video stores were there. That was the biggest area of video stores in the entire country. So think about this. Extravaganza Video. There was 3 video stores. This is when I learned about territories. We did a thing called quarter days once a month, where on Tuesdays and Thursdays, you rented 10 videos for a quarter. Now, remember, I watched everything from beginning to end. There's no way you can rent 10 movies and watch them all in a 24-hour period. I could, because I would start at 6 a.m. and end at midnight, one after another. But no one else could do that. So we got you on the late fees. Remember the late fees with $3.25 a late fee?
Oh yeah. That's
how we got them. So how I dented the Blockbuster, and we actually stopped their business where they were on the corner. If you ever come in Bundy and Santa Monica Boulevard in Brentwood, they couldn't change their prices. And I never forgot that. If you're corporate, if you're too big, you can't change your prices. We could. Till this day, that format still works. So when I'm calling big companies and I'm telling you, hey, I want to have you on our show, this is what I want to do. You got a great product, you got a great brand. No one's calling you with our numbers. Nobody. Show me your numbers and I'll show you mine. And the reason why I could say that, because we worked hard to get there. You guys worked hard to put this show together. It's not easy. No one knows what you guys went through to put it together, right? It's not easy. So it's one of those things where give that person the benefit of the doubt. Help them out. Everybody needs help because there's so many stories of how people started. Think of Steve Harvey living in his car for 3 years. Think of Tyler Perry living in his car for 3 years. What are they doing? Samuel Jackson was on drugs. He's in every single movie and almost every single commercial. When Seth MacFarlane can make fun of you, the black guy who's in everything, he's right. Right?
He's earned it. I mean, he's earned it. Yeah,
absolutely. And look at what they're worth. Who saw Tyler Perry's doing all of this stuff? I did, because I could relate to what he was doing. Look where he is now.
I mean, that's a guy who is an inspiration should be an inspiration for every filmmaker, because every filmmaker wants to do that. What he's doing, that's what they want. And he is completely independent in doing it on his own. And it's truly brilliant. That guy is so amazing.
I say this: if you haven't been homeless, if you haven't lived in your car, if you come to California or any place, even if it's in New York, because New York is expensive to live, you really don't know what it's like to be in that person's shoes. Even if you've done it for a night, whether it's in the summer or the winter, imagine doing that. Try sleeping in your car for 72 hours, not being able to take a shower, and trying to find out where you're going to get food. Once you've done that, you can relate to certain things.
I did that for 6 months in college because I ran out of the financial aid. So I lived in my car, and I would go down to the beach early in the morning and shower before I have to go to class. And it was
you understand. You understand. It's not fun. It can be embarrassing, but you know what? It sets you up to be where you want to be. And again, maybe that's one of the reasons why I said yes to come on, because I never will say no, because you just never know who you're inspiring, if that makes sense. And remember, I'm the guy that wasn't ever syndicated. I was not supposed to be doing interviews. All I knew is no one's seen more movies than I am. I can prove it. I was keeping track of it. And you know what? I can talk about anything when it came to it. And that's what made me stand out. And I would tell the publicist. And I remember going in, her name was Vivian Boyer. She was at Warner Brothers. She was the gatekeeper. I went to her office. There was nothing on her desk. I'm like, this is a strange desk. She goes, Brian, what are you doing here? No one comes to see me. I felt I was going to see the Wizard of Oz. And it was because she was the gatekeeper. But Lethal Weapon, all those movies, she gave the final go for 20-something years. You had to get past her. And if she didn't like you, you weren't getting in to do any interviews. Cool. So when I finally got a chance to talk to Kevin Spacey and Samuel Jackson, and with me and one other person for The Negotiator, remember that movie?
Oh, yeah, great movie.
That's what said, this is where I belong. I'm in here. And you weren't supposed to take photos. So a lot of those photos that I took, whether it's The Rock, I wasn't supposed to take photos. I wasn't getting out of there without a photo. Look where The Rock is right now. How much did he make last year? $86 million. Look where he is.
Absurd.
And I'm a wrestling fan, and I grew up, so I knew the history. Imagine there's only 3 of us knew who he was when he did The Mummy Returns. How embarrassing was that?
Yeah, right.
Nobody knew.
Had any idea who this guy was. Who was, first of all, that CGI was terrible, but it was still The Rock. You could still recognize him.
But if you scroll down, you'll see a picture of he's got a long neck because he was still built at that point when he had hair. That's my only photo of The Rock. So I told DJ we got to get a new photo. But sometimes when you become friends, you don't want to ask, because it's like strange.
Right. Yeah.
But that's why I took some of them. But imagine the ones I didn't get because you weren't supposed to, or it was inappropriate.
Or the timing, exactly. Yeah, because you want to be respectful, of course. You don't want to just be that person. That's not how you stand out. That's not a good standing out.
Remember, that's how Anna Nicole came about. I wanted to interview her again. So the guy who took the photo, I look like a deer in the headlight. I'm like, I'm just happy to be there. And she's hugging me like she wants to take me behind a corner and F me. And I was like, if you look at my face, I was paranoid.
Flustered, like, I just want to talk to you again. Don't be
exactly. That was my whole thing. So I said, the next time I'll be prepared. And then 3 weeks later, she walks into Planet Hollywood. She didn't remember me. She goes, oh, hi. I'm like, that's not what I expected.
I will tell you, though, this has been truly awesome. Your stories are amazing, and we loved having you on tonight. And we need to get you on BTV for sure, because that's going to be a lot of fun.
You let me know. You let me know.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. Oh, and if you have topics, like I said, it's a bunch of us who worked in video stores that just talk movies.
And that would be great.
It's a fun one.
I was like, there's no way I can't do a podcast.
We just get to talk about the absurd things we've loved through our lives. It's wonderful.
So, yeah.
And you guys let me know any of the co-hosts that you want, and I'll get them on your show. How's that?
Oh, that'd be incredible. Brian, that'd be phenomenal. Thank you.
You'll have fun talking to the girls.
Yeah, and if you think of anybody that might be good fit to jump in, please let us know. We'd be happy to have them.
I already know. I'm way ahead of you.
I love it. I love it. But I just again,
I already know the 3 girls I want to have on first.
Fantastic. We're amazing. In. We'll start.
We're in. You let us know. We'll have them on for sure. But thank you again so much, everybody. It's Brian Sebastian. You can check him out at Movies, Reviews, and More. All the links are going to be in the description, so please go check it out. It is a fantastic show. Every day you're doing something. It's crazy, but I love it. You're an inspiration to me, and I know to Casey. So
yeah, absolutely,
this has been just truly fantastic. And
the only reason I like you, Casey, is because you're from Connecticut.
Heck yeah, I'll take it. There are a few of us, so we keep our bonds tight.
Exactly.
I was like, all right, I got to have a co-host. He's got to be from Connecticut. Somebody's going to connect with him on every turn. But again, thank you so much, everybody. Remember, Scene Snobs Network tomorrow. We have some great shows for you. Mystery, brand new. Ending the Stigma, brand new. BTB Podcast, brand new. And Crossing the Streams. So go check out the scenesnobs.com and more for all of our shows.
And
that's a lot of stuff. God, how do you guys do all of that?
Wow. Every night we have brand new shows.
Incredible people, incredible talent. These people are so incredible. They're the podcast they put together, the live shows, they're fantastic. All on the scenesnobs.com. They're wonderful people, and they're an incredible little family we've built here. So it's pretty cool.
Oh,
that's how we do it. All them. That's
well, I'd like to think I had a little bit to do with it.
Very little.
A little bit.
You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to book you guys sometime in September, and the only reason it's in September because I'm 6 months ahead.
I don't doubt that.
I'm going to have you guys on. I'm going to introduce you guys to the girls.
Oh, I love it.
Let's do it. That, man.
Yes.
So much.
They're going to have fun talking to you guys.
That'll be a blast.
We will bring the absurd. We're good with that.
You better be prepared because they're tough.
Oh, I love it. Tough is better. Let's do this.
Well, yeah, everybody, thank you again for watching. It's been truly fantastic. Again, go check out the scenesnobs.com, and we will talk to you later.
Be good to each other.
And that's our show, everybody. Thanks for listening or watching, wherever you're checking it out. This show is brought to you by our sponsor, Manscaped. Go check them out. They are saving our balls, and they can save yours too, or somebody you care about. It's a pretty awesome device, so go check out what they got, the Lawnmower 3.0, the Weed Whacker, and more. It's a great gift for Father's Day, birthdays, weddings, anything. So yeah, head over there and use promo code SNOBS, SNOBS, and you'll get 20% off and free shipping. Also, we'd like to thank our super fan patrons. They are all Scene Snob family to us. They support us every month, and you can be one too. So head over to the Patreon channel, the Scene Snobs, and it's $5 a month, and you can join in with helping support us and get the free perks too. Also, you can follow us on social media. We are on everything at the Scene Snobs, so Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. We are on Facebook, the Scene Snobs. Everywhere. We have fun stuff always going on, always have contests and stuff, so go follow us, check us out. You can go to our link tree by going to thescenesnobs.com. There's our link tree, there's our Patreon, there is all of our shows and the links for all of that, so thanks again for checking it out. Just head over to the